to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Joker wins another MVP to make it 3 MVPs in I think 4 years. Now look, I was the first one to say that Joker deserves these MVPs and that SGA didn't deserve the MVP and that not didn't deserve it, but didn't deserve it over Joker, and Luka didn't either, right? I mean, when we look at the stat line of Joker and we look at win shares, box this, box that, all these different advanced analytic numbers, Joker led in everything, was first in everything, and Luka was second. So let's don't make this about race, like the media was trying to tell you, because this is the type of NBA that the media wanted. This is the type of NBA that the NBA wanted, right? You don't have to play no defense. You don't have to win no statistical titles and stuff like this. And we're going to go over this in a minute and see where Joker measures up to the all-time great big man, in my opinion, as far as greatness. When we look at LeBron's MVPs, right? When he won those back-to-back in 2009 and 2010, and then he melted down, and he had the number one overall seed both years in a row, and he melted down to a 4 seed and a 3 seed. Come on, bro. And he did not win any statistical titles that year. Wasn't first in scoring, assists, steals, rebounds, nothing. And like I said, he melted down and lost in the playoffs. Didn't even make it to the finals. So if Joker loses this year, let's don't care about that. You can go ahead and miss me with that because of what LeBron did in 2009 and 10. And when we look at 2012 and 13, LeBron had a super team and won back-to-back MVPs again. How do you win back-to-back MVPs with you're playing with 2 of the top 5 to 10 players in the league, right? How did you win MVP? With the same boring stat line. Didn't win any statistical titles. 27, 7, and 7. What are we talking about? Didn't have 100 blocks. Didn't have 200 steals. So this whole MVP thing is just like, who knows what it is anymore? You know, you don't have to win those statistical titles. And when we look at Joker, it seems you don't have to be on any defensive teams. As a center, this guy hasn't been on even a second defensive team. Wow. So I'm getting a feeling that a lot of these players now, they're just popping out of nowhere. Not your Lucas. Who is this? I won't say out of nowhere, but you take Anthony Edwards and we're looking at Luka, and you look at pass grades, they were great coming into the NBA. Great coming out the gate. And now we got to compare these guys. Oh, in this season, once they were 22, once they were this age. And no, the guys in the past, they were great coming out the gate. Okay? So let's look at this right here. You got Joker. First 9 seasons in the NBA. Let's look at what these guys did. And we're going to go with Joker first. 1 championship, 1 finals MVP, 3 MVPs. We're going to go ahead and give him, he was 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA first team. We'll give that to him because we know he's going to be on there. In rookie first team. This is what Joker did in his first 9 seasons. So we're calling it, I don't care if this guy wins the championship this year. We're calling this guy, if he wins the championship, in the top 10. I've heard this guy was the greatest offensive player of all time. I've heard stuff like that. Because he pretty much ball hogs. He does it LeBron James. He controls the offense. We'll talk about that in a minute. Tim Duncan, 3-time champion, 3 times final MVP, two times MVP, 8-time All-Star, All-Star Game co-MVP, 8-time All-NBA First Team, 6-time Defensive First Team, Rookie of the Year. Hakeem, 8-time All-Star. Is this right? Hakeem missed the All-Star team one year? Eight-time. No. Hakeem never missed no All-Star team. Well, I guess he did miss the All-Star one year. I had to go back and look at it. 4-time All NBA First Team, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time Defensive First Team, Rookie First Team, 2-time Rebound Leader, 3-time Blocks Leader. Now, let's take this into account when we're talking about first teams, whether it's All NBA or defensive teams. I'm not counting the second team or the third team. I'm just counting greatness. Okay, I'm not trying to say that none of these players wasn't on the second team or the third team. I'm only counting first teams. Now, Joker, he wasn't on no defensive teams, and he's only been on one second team one time in his career. So we got Kareem, 1-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP, 5-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 2-time Defensive First Team. Is that right? I have to go look back at that. Rookie First Team, 6-time All-NBA First Team, Rookie of the Year, Rebound Leader 1 time. I have to go back and look at that. That don't seem right. Seems like he had more rebound titles than that. 1-time Block Leader, 2-time Scoring Champ. Got Bill Russell, first 9 seasons. 8-time NBA Champion, 5 times MVP, 9-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA First Team, 4-time Rebound Champ. And then you got Wilt Chamberlain, 4-time MVP, 9-time All-Star, All-Star Game MVP, 7-time All-NBA First Team, Rookie of the Year, 7-time Scoring Champion, 8-time Rebound Champion. Let me see. I think this is a typo. This ain't 1-time Rebound Champion. 1-time NBA Champion. And that Rebound Champion, that's supposed to be 1-time Assist Champion for Wilt Chamberlain. So what I'm going to tell you guys is, in the past eras, these guys not only were battling against other great centers in their eras, but they were winning statistical titles or on defensive teams or winning Defensive Player of the Years while winning MVP. And sometimes they was winning statistical titles, sometimes 2 statistical titles in one season, and being on defensive teams. So when people try to say that Joker is a top 10 center, you got to stop. This is just a couple guys I put on here. I could have put people like Moses Malone. I could have put people like Patrick Ewing, even though he didn't win any MVPs, because he had to go against people like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and these guys that you see on the screen. I could have put Dikembe Mutombo on here, even though he didn't win no MVPs. But what I'm trying to tell you is this guy ain't winning no statistical titles, and he has no defensive teams, and he's winning MVPs. And all of a sudden, for this certain era, we got to wait until these guys get good to compare them to past greats that were already great when they stepped into the league. Now we got the Anthony Edwards comparison. This guy, he needed to wake up when he was 22. If you was good enough to come to the NBA in a weak era, you should have already been good. I'm not trying to say great, but you should have already been good enough to where people were saying these good things about you. This guy's career is pretty much non-existent his first 2 seasons. No statistical titles for Anthony Edwards. Never top 10 in any statistic. And this guy has a couple playoff games. Couple good playoff games. He's on Michael Jordan's level. What are we talking about? This is just it's how weak this era really is. They're so desperate to find the next this or that. Anthony Edwards ain't even on Larry Bird's level, Magic Johnson's level, Dr. J's level, Wilt Chamberlain's level, Tim Duncan's level, Kobe Bryant's level, Hakeem's level. What are we talking about? I'm talking about as a skilled basketball player. These guys back in the day were putting up statistical titles, which means you was the best in the league that year in rebounds, assists, blocks, points. This middle of the pack stuff, this 27, 7, and 7, it's nothing to us. It's nothing to us. It shows how weak the era is when you could just hog the ball and just put up stats. It's not winning basketball. It's not being the best at your position. So these assists are inflated. Who's Joker's competition? Oh, wait. Do you see a Hakeem? Do you see a Bill Russell? Do you see a Moses Malone? Do you see a Kareem? Do you see any of these guys? Mutombo, Shaq, Mourning, Rick Smits. I literally watched Joker give up every time the opponent came to the basket in the playoffs. Many a times. I'm talking about somebody that drove to the basket, got past the defender, and he just gave up. He just let him score. I watched this guy get blocked 3 times in a row on the same play. He went up, they blocked him. He went back up, they blocked him. He went back up, they blocked him. What's the defense for this guy? So if these guys right here that you see were just playing offense back in the day, there will be no NBA. And it just exposes how weak this NBA is, that this guy plays no defense. And everybody's seen that. And it took him all the way until what? A couple years to start being a great player. When the league got weaker and weaker. He'd been in the league since 2015-16. 15-16. He's been getting blown out of the playoffs. And nobody said nothing about it. Nobody. So your entire resume doesn't count anymore. I'm not talking about losing because you lost. Where are the big numbers you put up in a loss? Because I always remember when I was watching the NBA in the 80s and 90s, they called these guys great players, whether they won or lost, because they went out like OGs. They went out putting up numbers. They didn't stat pad. They didn't miss games. They didn't cry because they had an injury. They didn't melt down. The NBA wouldn't be around if that stuff happened. But we call these guys great because they're a one-way player? This guy's playing worse defense than LeBron. I mean, one of the worst defensive players of all in a center. You wouldn't expect this out of a center. This is your center. Your center, and he can't even play defense. No defensive teams for a 3-time MVP. Wow. I mean, like I said, he deserves the MVP because this is the NBA that the NBA created. A weak, watered down league where these guys in the past had to do more to win. Most of these guys had to put up crazy statistical titles or win statistical titles just to win championships, or they had to be on defensive teams as well as all NBA teams. Today, you don't have to do that. And if he gets beat, no matter if he gets beat or he gets swept, a lot of people going to be coming after him, just like Joel Embiid. A lot of people's going to be coming after this guy. Am I saying he don't? He deserves an MVP. In the 90s, he couldn't do this. He couldn't sit out there and get 8-9 assists a game. He couldn't sit under there and get all these rebounds, not battling nobody. Once the offensive player shoots the ball, the team on offense looks at the rim, and they start to take off. They don't even challenge for the ball for an offensive rebound, or unless it comes off long or something like that. Yeah. 4 guys at the 3-point line. Well, 8 really, because you got the defenders. And pretty much your center under the basket. So who is Joker battling for these rebounds? Don't you? We're talking about these guys on the screen would average about 20 rebounds a game then. And we already know Will and Russell did. It might be 50 rebounds a game. So you guys tell me what you think, man. I just don't know no more, man. Maybe I'm a year off on some of these numbers, but they're pretty close. Tell me if I'm off. This is what I came up with when I went back and looked at the books. I mean, they might be off one number maybe, but it's still, I mean, they're making Joker not even look like a professional NBA player. What has he done his first 9 years compared to these guys? These guys balling out of control their first 9 years. I just don't get it, man. You had to do more in the past to be great. You just did. You don't really have to do too much but put up a stat line today. And if that was the case back in the day, there would be no NBA today. If there was a positionless NBA back in the days, it wouldn't be an NBA today. The reason why the NBA got so weak because of LeBron made it a positionless game. Let's just do a stat line, 27, 7, and 7. But what did that get him? Where's the statistical titles? How many finals blowouts does he have? 6. How many super teams? 3. How many choke jobs and meltdowns? Endless. Tell me what you think.